my name is Harshita Nagar, and today I'll be presenting on conflict's effect on global food insecurity. So a little bit about me. My name is Harshita Nagar. I'm a rising sophomore at the LNN STEM Academy in Knoxville, Tennessee. I take part in many extracurriculars, including swim team. I'll be the treasurer for my health club this coming year. I'm in student government, and I'm also a Model UN member. For my career, I plan to major in pre-med in college, so I can go to medical school. And I'll also be taking chemistry and biology classes alongside that. So, the United Nations recently estimated that in 2020, 3.1 billion people could not afford the least expensive form of a healthy diet, estimated to cost about $3.54 per day. I wanted to start out with this since it really shows the enormity of the issue that I'm presenting on, and how billions of people worldwide aren't able to afford the basic necessity they need to survive. Also, this report was in 2020, and food prices have increased since then, and it really shows the struggle people go through to afford food. So, what is food insecurity? By definition, it is the condition of not having access to sufficient food or food of an adequate quality to meet one's basic need. This could be due to a multitude of reasons, such as poverty, food price increases, lack of an education, which could also lead to lack of employment and keep people in that cycle of poverty. More than 345 million people face food insecurity as of 2023, and as many as 823 million don't know where their next meal is coming from. These statistics are meant to show how large the presence of food insecurity is in modern times. And as you can see on this graph, it also shows the share people are undernourished. Undernourishment and food insecurity go hand in hand. And as you can see on this graph, least developed countries, sub-Saharan African countries, low-income food deficient countries, and Southern Asian countries are the ones that are most affected by undernourishment and in turn food insecurity. These countries are on the lower spectrum of the demographic transition model, meaning that they have higher populations and have higher needs for food supplies. And sometimes they aren't able to supply that on their own to support that population, leading to undernourishment as shown here. So how is food insecurity a global issue? It's part of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Goal number 2, to end hunger, achieve food security, and improve nutrition, and promote sustainable agriculture by 2030. It's coming up in 7 years. We really need to work on this problem to be able to promote a better lifestyle for billions of people, so they don't have to worry about where their food's going to be coming from. So, what are some reasons for food insecurity? The biggest one is conflict, which 70% of the world's hungry people living in areas afflicted by war and violence. Violence displaces people and destroys their ability to provide for themselves. Other reasons include climate, which climate shocks are destroying crops and people's ability to feed themselves. There's also increased costs due to global tensions. Fertilizer prices are at an all-time high, and some areas depend on fertilizers to be able to have greater yields to support the population. There's also increased operating costs, so organizations that are aiding in food insecurity have to pay for these operating costs instead of directing their funds towards their cause of reducing food insecurity. So the purpose of this presentation is conflict's effect on global food insecurity, and what better way to present on that than the most recent conflict, the Ukraine war. Russia and Ukraine together account for a third of global wheat trade, 3/4 of global sunflower oil trade, and 17% of the global maize trade. And as of November 2022, $6.6 billion worth of damages have occurred to Ukraine's agricultural sector. This war has severely devastated the global agricultural market and food security worldwide. And as it says on here, the war in Ukraine is fueling a global food crisis. So what are some of the effects? There's been an increase in fertilizers, which, as I've said, is necessary to feed areas of greater population. Food prices have hit an all-time high, so families aren't able to afford food. And this has hit food importing countries the hardest. Africa, Middle East, and Asia. These areas are where food importing countries are usually located, and they aren't able to import the proper amount of food to supply to their population due to this war. So now looking at this chart, it shows the number of additional food insecure people from 2021 to 2022, primarily in low and middle income countries. Food insecurity increased by a total of 118.7 million in this year, and really shows how much conflict, specifically the Ukraine war, affected global food insecurity worldwide. And it's mostly in these food importing countries in Africa and South Asia, the Middle East. So, who's affected by food insecurity the most? Low-income families. These families aren't able to afford the diet that they need to survive, and because of this, they shift, as it says on here, these families shift consumption away from nutritious food, as food with a higher nutritional value is more expensive. And these people are associated with the side effects of food insecurity shown on the left. This includes lower birth weights, stunting, wasting, anemia, and obesity. So, in conclusion, conflict is a key factor in food insecurity and malnutrition worldwide. Food insecurity has been on the rise since 2020, with more than twice the number predicted for this year as compared to 2020. The purpose of this presentation was to bring light the butterfly effect that conflict can have on the lives of people across the earth. So here are my references, more references, acknowledgements. I would like to thank the audience for listening to my presentation and giving me the time to present on a topic that I'm passionate about. Thank you. I'd like to thank my parents for encouraging me throughout my academic career and helping me to build this presentation. And I would also like to thank GHLC for giving me this amazing opportunity. Thank you.